Alright, what is going on, everyone? This is Will here from Across the Plains, and we are here to bring you the Week 7 Fantasy Football Ranking Show. You can find me at MPLS_outdoors, and below me is...
I'm Jake the Rookie, and that's THA, like Across the Plain. And we're here to do our Fantasy Football Ranking Show for Week 7. And we'll get started with teams on byes this week.
Yeah. Starting to get in the heavy bye weeks. Got the Colts, Dolphins, Ravens, and Vikings on bye. So just take note for all those players. Obviously, I'm sure we've already made adjustments for that. And just of note, folks, down below is going to be the link to our full rankings. The rankings you'll see in the show are the consensus rankings, but if you want to check out the full rankings, that is going to be in the link below, as well as the link to our full-length sports podcast. So check that out if you would like. Got some injuries to monitor going into Week 7, and I think kind of this is the biggest one is Joe Mixon. He had a foot injury. He left the game, and then he came back, but then now he's been missing practice. So I don't know if it's precautionary, but take note of that. I think he still ends up playing. He'll still end up finding in your lineup. We have him ranked here, but just take note that if he doesn't practice on Friday, be very cautious of that.
Yeah, and if you have a available spot, might want to go handcuff Giovanni Bernard. or just as a precautionary. Just Joe Mixon has got injured before, missed time, and I think Giovanni Bernard could have a sneaky productive week this week.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Next up, Mike Evans. Obviously, he's been dealing with that ankle injury, and again, he's toughed it out, but he hasn't played a whole lot. He's had two big games. Other than that, he's been very touchdown dependent. So our rankings do reflect that. So again, take note of that. Michael Thomas is another one who popped back up on the injury report with he had the high ankle sprain. Obviously, he's came back from that, but now he looks like a hamstring injury. So
Yeah, and yet to say whether or not he's going to play. And if he is going to play, he's obviously going to be in your lineup. He's probably your first round pick, and you're itching to play him.
Absolutely. But yeah, just again, Friday is the big one. Take note of that. Jonnu Smith again left the game against Houston, and he has an ankle injury. It looks like he will play. He was a very limited participant in Wednesday's practice. It looks like he only participated in some walkarounds though. So I think they're going to be nursing him. I think, again, our rankings reflect him playing. I think he's out there. He's such a big red zone target for that offense that he'll probably find a way into your lineup unless you have a couple of the guys ranked above him. But again, keep a note. Sterling Shepard is next. And
yeah, Jonathan Smith is going to be one to monitor. He's been huge, but maybe not as many yards after catch with the leg injury.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably going to be a little more touchdown dependent, but he is a big red zone target, and with the way tight ends are, I think you got to play him if he's out there.
Yep, and Sterling Shepard, haven't seen him yet this year. We'll see if he plays this week.
It looks like it's going to be up to, he's got the Thursday night game tonight. It looks like it's going to be up to a pregame workout to determine how he feels. So I don't think you play him at all, but I think you could monitor it maybe in a deeper league. He could be rosterable to see how he looks tonight, how he plays, how many snaps he plays, what his connection looks like with Daniel Jones. So
yeah, he's only rostered in 31% of NFL leagues right now, so something to keep an eye on the waivers.
Yeah, if you're in a deeper league, definitely.
If he plays tonight.
Yeah, and Deshaun Jackson looks like we'll see him back on the field tonight. Again, I think he could be rosterable. The Eagles obviously are just hurting at receiver. Alshon Jeffrey could be back next week, I think. Zach Ertz obviously went down. Dallas Goedert could be back in a week. So they're getting some targets back, but they still are hurting. So Deshaun Jackson, again, deeper league, but keep an eye out for that. He's definitely a flyer and could be a sneaky DFS play when healthy.
Yeah. And then last is John Brown. And if he plays this week, expect good numbers, I think, against the Jets. But he is listed as questionable right now. And what's hurt on him? Is it?
It's a knee
leg?
injury.
Okay.
So I think I'm rolling with John Brown as a flex in a 12 or a 14 team league or deeper. I'm not sure about a 10-man league, and our rankings will reflect that. But again, they're playing the Jets. This is a very favorable matchup. I think Josh Allen has a bounce-back game. He said played poor. I mean, there's no better candidate to get back in stride and get some confidence back throwing than the Jets. So that's a great matchup. I think you can expect Diggs and John Brown to have a healthy dose of targets, and you can expect probably 30-plus points from that Bills offense.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know. I think just around 30.
Yeah.
I have them at.
Absolutely. I think they'll get ahead. Well, do you want to get right into the rankings? Kick it off with the quarterbacks?
Right to it.
All right. Number 1, Russell Wilson we predict this to be a very high-scoring game. So number 1 and number 2, Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray. I mean, obviously, if they're on your team, you're starting them, but Russell Wilson's coming off the bye.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's coming off the bye. He's been productive against pretty much every defense. Arizona did have a great week but it was against Andy Dalton. And so I think Russell Wilson is a much better quarterback. He's performed great so far, and you're starting him every week. So.
Yeah, and The Cardinals did lose Chandler Jones last week,
Okay.
so he's out for the season actually. So that's going to be big for their pass rush. He's been one of the best defensive ends over the last couple of years. So expect Russell Wilson to have a big game, and Kyler Murray as well. He's been playing fantastic football. That Seattle defense has just been terrible. Russell Wilson's, it's just having to been high-scoring games every time they've been winning, which they have been, but we can expect a high-scoring game. That defense is very poor.
Receivers are just running crazy on them. Just wherever they want to go, they're open. And
yeah,
yeah,
Seattle is.
I think this game could have upwards of around 70, 80 points.
Yeah, absolutely.
Total.
Seattle has been the 31st ranked quarterback against fantasy quarterbacks. So expect some points from both of those teams. And next up, obviously, is Patrick Mahomes. He's always going to find his way in the top 3.
I have him at number 1. Will has him lower. That's why he's at aggregate rankings, for anyone wondering. So he ends up at 3. I think he's going to torch Denver, but we'll see.
Yeah, I kind of predict it's going to be a divisional matchup, but again, I just think Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray are going to have a little bit higher. They both have rushing upside, but again, there's no way you have both of them. You can't go wrong with any of them. They're all probably going to score. I mean, I'd predict them all to score over 25 points.
Yeah, absolutely. There's these top 6 usually in any position is just set it and forget it.
Yep. So next up, Deshaun Watson. Green Bay had a big game last week. Deshaun Watson did, and it's another. Green Bay's been pretty decent. They're 12th ranked defense against the fantasy quarterback, so they've been playing well. But it's a home matchup. I think Deshaun Watson, he has a big game. I have him ranked a little bit lower, but again, 4 is a great spot to have him at. He's going to put up points this week. He's going to be throwing the football there. I think you can predict a high-scoring game.
Yeah, and he might even run one in. So I like Deshaun Watson this week.
Yep. And I think you get the same for Josh Allen. It's against the Jets. Favorable matchup. Josh Allen's kind of stumbled the last 2 weeks. Had some tough matchups. Played some tough teams, but I think this is the week he kind of gets back on track. I mean, it's the Jets. Probably going to score a rushing touchdown. Throw a couple of touchdowns. We have Diggs ranked very high this week. So
yeah, I can see Diggs busting off a big catch for a touchdown this week.
Definitely, and he'll just be getting peppered with targets the whole game.
Yeah, he demands them, and Josh Allen, he respects it, and you know.
I like
and
that.
Next, I heard him. It's so funny to hear him talking in the game. I heard him talking. He's like, "Give me the damn ball!" Like, you know, it's like, oh, yep, that's Diggs. That's got to be Diggs.
Yep. Next up, Aaron Rodgers again had a really tough week last week against Tampa Bay, but that is a much different defense than Houston, and I think Aaron Rodgers again is gonna. He seems like he's the type of guy that likes to have a chip on his shoulder, and that's probably what he needs to have a huge game against Houston. Probably three touchdowns at least you can expect.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers will bounce back. He's chip on his shoulder guy. I think the Packers win. I think Deshaun Watson edges them out in fantasy points, but Aaron Rodgers is still a fantasy start.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like they're getting Devontae Adams back. So next up, Matt Ryan. And again, I think this is one of those things where it looks like what the situation is with Matt Ryan is he's a very good quarterback with Julio Jones on the field.
He has great weapons. They're playing in a dome. They looked good against the Vikings. Detroit's not that great defensively either. I think he could have a good week this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he played huge last week. Detroit's 23rd ranked against a fantasy quarterback, so expect him to put up some points. And again, he's getting his weapons back. Julio Jones is huge for them, so that opens everything up for that offense. And next up, so this is going to be the highest ranking this guy has appeared on this show so far. Justin Herbert coming in at number 8, and he's been playing some great football.
Yeah, he's averaging about 22 fantasy points a game, and I picked him up off the waivers this week, and I'm starting him against Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean he's been playing great football. He had 27 fantasy points last week. He's a rushing threat. He's had multiple pass. He's had 7 pass touchdowns the last 2 games he's played. He's coming off the bye. Keenan Allen looks like he left the game against New Orleans. Keenan Allen needed
Yeah,
that bye
he's
week. Going to come back, be healthy. It's a big target for them. So I think Justin Herbert. Expect a big game from Justin Herbert.
yeah, I'm hoping for it, man. I've been
Playing at
taking a
home, yeah.
couple L's these couple weeks. Just like Lamar Jackson had a good week last week, and I still got outscored by Deshaun Watson. So
Yeah, it's tough.
yeah, I'm hoping. I need Justin Herbert to outperform his ranking this week.
All right, next up, Ryan Tannehill's next up versus Pittsburgh. It's a tough defense, but they're actually a lot tougher against the run than they are the pass. They have been allowing some fantasy points to pass. And Ryan Tannehill at this point has just been playing such great football. He's kind of a must start for me going forward every single year, or not every single week.
Yeah, every single week so far, if you're streaming quarterbacks, don't have one of those top 6 guys, have one of them on bye. Just Tannehill's a great guy to plug in your
Yeah.
lineup.
He was owned 65% at the beginning of the week, and that jumped 10% to 75% chance. But he's averaging almost 23 and a half fantasy points per week. He's really only had one, not even really a bad game against Minnesota. He just didn't get the touchdowns necessarily. And I think they can score some points on Pittsburgh. He has some tough matchups coming up, Pittsburgh and Cincy, but then he plays Chicago, Colts, Baltimore, then the Colts again, then Cleveland. But he's got a really favorable. He's a quarterback you want, especially if you're looking at the playoffs. Weeks 14, 15, 16, he plays Jacksonville, Detroit, then Green Bay. And Titans are going to be right in the thick of that playoff race, so they're going to be needing those wins. They could potentially be gunning for. They're going to be right in contention, I think, for that number one spot in the AFC. They'll be in
I don't know
contention for it.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get the bye, but I think they'll be close.
Yeah.
Either 2 or 3 seed, I think.
They'll be playing right down to the wire, so it's not like you have to worry about. But I think Ryan Tannehill's a great quarterback going forward. Does have some tough matchups, but I think he's going to be a top 12 play for me going forward.
Yeah, probably, yeah. It doesn't even matter the matchup, and Derrick Henry just opens things up for him so much.
Mm-hmm.
He's executing. He's got A.J. Brown back. That's his favorite target. Him and Jonnu Smith have been putting in work. I really like Tannehill. If he's not rostered in your league, I would even put him on a bench spot, even if you have one of these better guys who haven't had a bye yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Roethlisberger's up next. Tennessee's been allowing a lot of points. I do think you can expect that to be a high-scoring game.
Well,
we have their receivers ranked both inside the top 35. So
yeah, he has some good weapons, so it's hopefully going to be good for fantasy production. Didn't do that well last week. We'll see this week. Matt Stafford against Atlanta. We think that's going to be a decently high-scoring game, so that's why we have Tannehill, Roethlisberger, Stafford, Ryan all as starts in 12-man leagues.
yeah, I mean, Atlanta's been dead last in fantasy. They've been allowing the most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So Matt Stafford, again, if you're in a 12-man league, even a 10-man league, he's going to be a good player this week. I really expect him to put up some points. And Gardner Minshew, the Chargers have been ranked 30th in fantasy points allowed against quarterbacks. So Gardner Minshew's always a player. You can expect a couple of touchdowns from him every single week, I think.
Yep. And then you see the last 7. I think out of these guys, I think the one that's real sneaky to play, I think Kyle Allen could tear up Dallas in a high-scoring game.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you watched our preview show, that's on our YouTube channel now. You'll see that Kyle Allen was a streamer for us. They've been allowing him to throw the football. And again, it's versus Dallas. Dallas has been absolutely terrible. I think Kyle Allen, you can probably score like 3 touchdowns this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna give him to.
Yeah, I
And
mean, he threw
then
for football 42 times against the Giants, and the Giants have actually been kind of a tough defense, a tougher defense, definitely tougher than Dallas. So, I think Kyle Allen, if you're in a deeper league and some of these teams, maybe you have a bye week and you have a Lamar Jackson and somebody has two of these guys, Kyle Allen could definitely be a streamer. Also, Derek Carr has been playing great football. I think Kyle Allen has a little more upside. Derek Carr might have a safer floor. Um, so again, I think yes, floor goes Derek Carr, but Kyle Allen I think could definitely be involved in a shootout there.
yeah,
Yeah. Some guys that are ranked lower. Cam Newton again. I gotta see it again. I gotta see another good game before I'm putting him back in the lineup. Tom Brady again. They're kind of preferring to. I think they prefer just to run the ball, and you can definitely run the ball against Las Vegas.
Joe Burrow did have 24, his highest fantasy game against Cleveland Browns, and they're playing Cleveland again, so he could have same level production, hopefully more if you're a Joe Burrow starter. But I uh, I was higher on him earlier in the season, and now I'm just that terrible line.
Yeah, they
He's
have a terrible line,
season.
but we'll see though. But yeah, there's the quarterback rankings. You want to get to the running back rankings?
Yeah, let's do
All
it.
right, let's do it. Here's our top 40 running backs there. Um, and we've got Aaron Jones as the consensus number one. Again, I have him at number one. I believe, Jake, you have Kamara number one.
I think so. Yes.
But
Let me
either way,
check real.
you're not going wrong with either of those guys. We have Chris Carson, Aaron Jones, and
Yeah,
Alvin Kamara is going to be top three every single week, pretty much. That's a very favorable matchup, as well as Aaron Jones at Houston, and I think they kind of go back to Aaron Jones against that Houston. That's a team you can run the football, and he's a big passing threat. Chris Carson has a very favorable matchup against Arizona.
yep. Uh, I like that matchup a lot too. Also a passing threat. Um, and then Zeke. I think Zeke. I'm. I think I have him higher than Carson, but you're big on Carson, so that's why Carson is at 3.
Mm-hmm. So again, check
And
out the full rankings. There's the link to that below. There's a spreadsheet with the full rankings. You can see where we have everyone ranked there.
I think Zeke will have a good game and some touchdowns this game. For Zeke owners, don't trade him away,
Yeah, I mean
or
he had the
don't sell.
fumbling issues. If somebody offers you a really great trade, I mean, I always
You can
say
take it.
anyone's tradable if
And
for the right trade, but don't don't panic on Zeke at all. He's still going to be a huge passing threat with Andy Dalton. Expect to see a lot of checkdowns. These are half point PPR rankings, so again, yeah, he's going to be a big passing threat. Which brings up Derrick Henry number 5. It's a tough matchup versus Pittsburgh, but it's Derrick Henry. He's going to find himself in that top 5 every single week. He had a huge week last week. He had 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. The game-winning
Yep,
touchdown, he had a 94-yard touchdown, was it?
yep. 94-yard touchdown run, and then a huge catch, and then walked it into the end zone in overtime, and had a almost a 40-point game in half point PPR, and
Yeah, he's just so fun to watch.
yeah, I haven't seen a running back that runs like him um, for a long time. I don't even know if ever.
Yeah, he's so big, and it's crazy being that size, being able to outrun defenders 94 yards.
Yeah, with those. Yeah, yeah, he's crazy.
Yep.
So, and next we got Kareem Hunt at Cincinnati. He's questionable, not practicing right now, but I think it's just to give him rest.
Yeah, he had a
And
tough matchup last week against Pittsburgh, but I think they kind of bounced back against Cincy. It's a easier matchup, and again, Cleveland likes to run the football. Expect to see Kareem Hunt to get at least 20 touches this week. He's involved in the passing game. He's a must-start RB1 every single week.
Agreed.
Mike Davis, looks like we're going to get another week of Mike Davis. Myself, as a Mike Davis owner, I'm happy. He had a kind of a down game last week in terms of yardage, but he had a touchdown that saved this game. But again, a running back that's getting 20-plus touches a game and is involved that much in the passing game is going to be a must-start every single week. And Matt Rule came out and he said doesn't know if it's going to be this week, next week, or the week after for McCaffrey. So it could be... it looks like it's not going to be this week, but it could be the week after, or even the week after we get McCaffrey back. So we're not sure, but Mike Davis probably going to be a top 10 play until McCaffrey comes back.
He has been so far, so sure. I can't disagree. I got him at 9. You got him at 6.
Mm-hmm.
So aggregate 7.
Yep.
And then we got next James Conner at Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a very favorable matchup. Tennessee's defense is definitely a defense that you can put up points on.
Agreed.
They seem like they're the kind of defense like Kansas City where they more rely on making the right plays at the right time and rely on scoring on their offense.
True.
So, gonna start James Conner. He's been big. He started out the season with a little injury, but he's came on big as of late. James Robinson, this is a very favorable matchup. He hasn't been getting as many touches as fantasy owners would have liked to see, but I think this is the game where he really gets back on track.
Yeah, I like him in this matchup. I got him in my top 10. And so that's why he's aggregate 9. I got him at 7.
Yeah, I mean, he has a really safe floor being involved in the passing games. He's seen at least 4 targets every single week since week 2. He just hasn't seen... 17 carries has been the most he's seen all season, and last 2 weeks he hasn't seen more than 13. So I do think they give him the ball a little bit more this game. And again, that safe passing floor keeps him at a high-ranked running back every single week.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then next we got Ronald Jones.
Ronald Jones, man. What more do you want from him?
I want for him to be on my team, but that's
Yeah, we talked about that. He was one of our trade targets if you saw the Week 7 fantasy preview.
exactly. Check that video out if you haven't.
But Ronald Jones, again, they're committed to running the football. I don't think we need to worry about Leonard Fournette. He's ranked 38, but...
No, he hasn't looked as good as Jones has this year.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not involved in the offense this week, he's droppable, I think, in 10 and 12-man leagues.
Yeah,
10-man leagues for sure.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. And then next we have Josh Jacobs.
Tough matchup.
Lower than he normally is, but tough matchup. And if Tampa Bay gets in the lead early, I can see Gruden maybe not using Jacobs as the high volume as he's seen in other games where they get the lead early. It just is really game script dependent for Jacobs. Yeah. If they get the lead early, Josh Jacobs could have outperform his rankings, be a top 5 play.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a red zone threat. They love just pounding the football with him when they get in close. So Josh Jacobs, obviously a must start every single week. You drafted him first or second round. So next up, Joe Mixon. Again, this was a player that we talked about a little bit earlier on the injuries to monitor list. Keep an eye out if he doesn't play. Gio Bernard, who's ranked 37, is going to bounce way up. But again, I think even if he is out, I'll probably still have Gio Bernard. Still going to be, he's only going to move up probably to like 30, maybe.
Yeah. I have him at, I think I have him at right at 40, and you're higher on him than me. So that's why he's at 37.
Yep.
And yeah, I think if Mixon doesn't play, Gio Bernard goes up. If Mixon plays, you might see him underperform his number 12 ranking.
Yeah.
So just be cautious.
Yeah, again, I think he just has the nagging injuries, and Cleveland does have a sneaky good defense, and Cleveland could get out ahead. So keep an eye on that. Next up, David Johnson. Again, this is a favorable matchup, but David Johnson really doesn't have high upside at all. It's just he's a safe floor.
I agree.
And again, we're getting to that point of running backs, I think, where it's once you get it outside of that top 12, it starts to get, you're looking for those guys with volume, even if it's not necessarily efficient.
Yeah.
But David Johnson has gotten the volume. He has seen enough work in the passing game to keep him relevant. From weeks 3 to 6, he hasn't scored less than 10.2, and he hasn't scored more than 13.4 points. So he's been getting close to 20 touches a game. Been seeing a decent amount of target work.
Sweet.
Yeah,
But
Green Bay is the worst ranked run defense against the fantasy running backs.
I don't see him breaking 20.
No.
But I see him having his best game this week.
Okay, David Johnson could break 20, but I don't think he does it without 2 touchdowns.
Oh, you'd have to have 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, so, again, he's still going to be startable every week, as is Todd Gurley. Again, this is about volume and matchup. It's a good matchup. He gets the volume. It was nice to see he's getting more passing work, at least, with the new coach. So, again, temper expectations for Gurley. It's kind of the same as David Johnson, where if he's putting up 20 points, it's because he's scoring 2 touchdowns, but he is a red zone threat. They're using him a lot, so with the way the running back position is, especially with some tough bye weeks, he's kind of he's going to be a low-end RB2 with high-end upside every week.
Yeah, no, Todd Gurley this week is a definite RB2, no question, just with the buys and the injuries. And Kenyon Drake had a good week.
Yeah. Kenyon Drake was on our sell list, and I think I'm still going to say sell Kenyon Drake. He's still not involved enough in the passing game for me. I think his value right now, you can get some good value back for him.
Yeah, that's good.
Obviously, if he's your only running back, maybe not, but if he's your RB2, I'd definitely go out and make a trade.
If he was my only running back, I might try to make a trade as well.
Maybe you could get a disgruntled James Robinson owner, something like that.
Yeah.
James Robinson was one of our earlier trade targets this week. We still like him. We like, especially, maybe not standard scoring. I guess I'd probably be higher on Kenyon Drake than James Robinson. But again, any PPR format. But we like half-point PPR.
And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a great week last week too.
It's the lowest he's been ranked.
Yeah, and the reason is because Le'Veon Bell was signed, and I think he's still going to be very fantasy relevant. I think he's still going to be an RB2 play, flex play, every week. But I think Le'Veon Bell, once he starts getting involved, I don't know if he'll be right away, is going to eat away at his fantasy production.
Yeah, and okay, let's say this. Wednesday, Andy Reid said they're taking it day to day. I do think, though, so let me say this. If they rule Le'Veon Bell out, this is recording of Thursday morning, obviously. If they rule Le'Veon Bell out, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to probably jump to, I'll probably have him at a 12. I'll probably move him up to 12. Right behind Josh Jacobs. Again, doesn't have the same touchdown upside, doesn't get the same red zone usage as some of the other guys, but if Le'Veon Bell does play, we have rankings reflected as if he does play. I think Le'Veon Bell's going to come on the field, and as soon as he gets on the field, he's going to see a decent amount of work. He's stayed in shape. He's football ready. He's a veteran. And Andy Reid's a veteran coach. They're going to be able to click right away. I think they'll use him creatively.
He was only off of an NFL roster for a week and a half. So
yeah.
So he's football ready. He's only signed 1-year deal, so I think they're going to try to use him right away. And it's just that's why Clyde is where he is.
And again, even I think, they might even. If you're smart, I think you could take the approach and say, hey, you know what? We've got such a young team. We've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We're going to try and keep him around for the long run. You know what? Let's take Le'Veon Bell, who's can come in and play very productive, take some of the load off for Clyde Edwards-Helaire so he doesn't have that wear and tear on his body as early on in his career, and maybe that's the approach they're taking.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
David Montgomery, man, you want to talk about inefficiency? Again, this very, very touchdown dependent, I think.
It's bad offensive line.
Yeah, bad offensive line, but again, he's just not that efficient, and he's not that quick. But again, he gets the volume, and we're kind of in that point where in the rankings where we're just looking for volume. Who's getting the volume? That's kind of who's getting ranked at this point.
Yep, the next probably about 10 running backs are all just, at the number one guy on their team, and that's why they got the ranking they do.
Yeah, I will say, though, out of the next 10 guys, I do think the next does have the highest chance to outperform his ranking. I think Justin Jackson has huge upside this week. He had 15 rushes last week and 6 targets for 5 catches last week, and he was averaging over 4 yards a carry against a very tough Saints defense, and he's been much more involved than Joshua Kelly, especially in the passing game. 6 targets last week. We're high on Justin Herbert. I definitely think Justin Jackson could outperform that 18 spot and end up scoring over 20 points potentially.
Yeah, I can see it. For me, Devin Singletary, I think this could be his big week just because maybe possibly game script and volume. If they get a big lead and they just want to, end the game quick, they're just going to hand him the ball, and hopefully he can, probably I could see him averaging 5 or more yards a carry this week. So hopefully he gets in that end zone for you if you're playing him.
All right.
Any guys?
We'll talk about
these bottom.
Yeah, I want to talk about Boston Scott, Miles Sanders, and obviously out. I think if you're in a deeper league, I think go ahead and roll Boston Scott out tonight. I think he has upside. Again, he could put up a dud, but Miles Sanders is out, Zach Ertz is out. A lot of short work throws that are going to be available for him.
Absolutely. Miles Sanders being out, Boston Scott gets the workload. He did good when Miles Sanders was out last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, he could definitely outperform. Jerick McKinnon is taking over the number 1 spot, again, with Raheem Mostert being out again. Hopefully we see him later in the season. Melvin Gordon and Philip Lindsay. That looks like a situation to monitor if you're a Melvin Gordon owner or if you're a Philip Lindsay owner. One could I think Philip Lindsay has the potential to be better than Melvin Gordon for the rest of the year. It's just depending on production. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I do too. We'll have to go for it again. Melvin Gordon's down at 25, so keep an eye on that. J.D. McKissic is a player that I think has some high upside this week.
PPR, absolutely. He's getting used in the passing games. If you're playing standard, maybe not.
Yeah, Kyle Allen is definitely looking his way.
Yep. Checking down.
Yeah, lots of checkdowns available to him. They're playing Dallas. I mean, if he's gonna have a good week, it's gonna be against Dallas. He had 8 targets week 4, 8 targets week 5, 6 targets in week 6. So definitely getting more involved in the passing game, and it's a very favorable matchup in the passing game against Dallas. And I think we can potentially see some points in that game. And we have Kyle Allen as a nice streamer play this week.
Yep, and then just another one to keep an eye on is Gio Bernard, just with Joe Mixon being out, might be a play. Then other than that, they're ranked where they're ranked.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check out the full rankings below. There's going to be a link to the Google Docs for that.
You mentioned DeAndre Swift had a good PPR week last week.
Yeah, absolutely. He had a big run there. ended up being he had over 100 yards on the game, only 14 touches. Again, he looks like one of those players where he's going to be very efficient when he gets the touches. I hope the Lions commit to giving him the football. It's the Lions, so we never know what they're going to do. They're a very head scratching offense, especially
Hmm.
when it comes to running backs.
Yep. I don't like owning Lions running backs.
No. All right. Well, next up you want to get into the wide receivers?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's do it. There we are. Number one, DeAndre Hopkins. He's probably going to be number one most weeks. I mean, especially we had Kyler Murray ranked number two. We're expecting a big game, a lot of points, which means DeAndre Hopkins is going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, it's just DeAndre Hopkins has the most talent, I think, out of anybody at the position. Most upside for me. Just hope the game script goes his way. I'm DeAndre Hopkins on my fantasy team, and he didn't get the 20 points I needed him to get last week to pull out the win, but he is just that had to do with game script and just Dallas being so bad. I think Kyler Murray only completed 9 passes, only threw 24. So I think if we see Kyler Murray throwing 30 plus passes, we see DeAndre Hopkins getting 12 plus targets.
Oh, absolutely. I think we see double-digit targets. Devontae Adams, number two. Looks like we're going to see him play. Again, he's one of those guys where he's probably going to be top 3 or 4 every single week. Aaron Rodgers' favorite target.
Absolutely. All of that. He's Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. There's nothing else to say about it. We've seen it.
Let's see. Stephon Diggs. DK Metcalf, number three. Again, Russell Wilson's favorite target. He's been an absolute monster this year. If
Yeah.
you drafted DK Metcalf, man, hats off to you. You probably drafted him in the 5th or 6th round, and he's way outperformed that top 3, top 4, top 5 receiver every single week now.
Yeah, it's incredible to the value you're getting out of him. You probably drafted him as your WR2, maybe even as a flex.
And you could
And
say the same about the guy ranked right below him, Stephon Diggs.
yeah, and it's just the wide receiver one lock every week now.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Julio Jones came back last week, had a huge game against Minnesota. Again, another nice matchup against Detroit. Looks like Michael Thomas is back. Again, WR1, whenever healthy, you're going to be playing him.
Yep. And Tyreek Hill against Denver, yeah, it's just Tyreek Hill. It's just it's just so easy to wide receivers really deep, and I think the top 20 guys are all must starts every week.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I even say, yeah, man, it's even going into like, there's a lot of guys. It's hard to sit guys in the top 25, top
Yeah,
24, 25.
and
Yeah,
we got Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen on bye, so it's just wide receivers deep this year,
yeah,
especially PPR.
yeah, absolutely. See, Kenny Galladay at 8. Expect a big game from him against Atlanta. Very easy matchup for him. Calvin Ridley versus Detroit. Again, easy matchup. I think he still performs very well with Julio on the field. It can open things up more for him.
Yeah, agreed. That helps him when Julio's on the field. Then AJ Brown we got at 10. I'm high on him. He's been performing well so far. Tannehill's favorite target.
Yeah, been a
And
big red zone target too.
he's just really good.
Yeah,
So
and he's just huge.
yeah.
He's huge. Let's see. Tyler Lockett's had a couple of down weeks. I think he has a bounce back week.
Yeah, hopefully he does. We'll see.
Yeah. Chris Godwin, he's going to be ranked higher. Mike Evans is all the way down at 18. Again, Mike Evans has seen a very low target share when Chris Godwin has been healthy. So I think Chris Godwin's a much safer play. Obviously, there's always huge upside with Mike Evans, but
Yeah, if they're both playing, I'm probably gonna have Godwin ranked higher.
yeah, absolutely. Allen Robinson must start again. Favorite target of Nick Foles. He's so talented. It doesn't matter who's throwing him the football. He's going to put up.
Agreed. He's really good. Like I just wish I'll see him one day with like a good quarterback. That would just be awesome. And then Keenan Allen is next, and I'm hoping Keenan Allen gets all the catches because I got Justin Herbert starting this week, and let's go Chargers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be, again, his favorite target. I think in a high-scoring
He's
game.
good. He's gonna be a top 10 receiver talent wise for me, but it's just like, is he gonna how many snaps is he gonna play?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Will Fuller. This is probably the highest I've had him ranked. I mean, he's played great football when healthy. It's a nice matchup. I think we can expect to see a high-scoring game against Green Bay and Houston. He's the favorite target of Deshaun Watson, and he's just been a monster.
Absolutely. He's perform. What more do you want from him? If you got Will Fuller, hopefully you're starting him. He's been on the bench in our league for the last couple weeks. He's finally getting a start he deserves, and yeah, got him at 15. Good matchup against Green Bay, I think, or at least he's Deshaun Watson's guy. So
Yeah.
even if he got a tough matchup,
Yeah, and again, like we said, man, these top 22. I mean, it'd be hard for me to sit any of these top 22 are all.
yeah,
Once you get to 15, I think through 22 for me are probably all pretty interchangeable.
yeah, it's exact. They're around the same tier, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
I think Mike Evans again. Mike Evans had one catch for 10 yards last week, and just temper expectations if you got to roll them out. I think if I had maybe a guy like Jamison Crowder and Mike Evans, I'd rather start a Jamison Crowder just because he has a safer floor.
Yeah, Mike Evans is very touchdown dependent, but he honestly has the potential to outscore anybody any week. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's just again he has as we've seen he does have a very low floor and has had some nagging injuries. So keep an eye on
yep,
that. Amari Cooper all the way down at 20.
yep,
That's a tough matchup against Washington. And again, he got a nice amount of target share, got a touchdown last week. But again, it's just when you look at all the receivers above him and his quarterback and the matchup, it's a tough matchup against Washington. They have a great pass rush, Ryan Kerrigan and Chase Young there. So I think
yeah.
we see a lot of checkdowns and a lot of Zeke.
We'll have to see how that game goes. Stock's hurting with Andy Dalton at the moment. We'll see how Andy Dalton does for the rest of the season. But those Cowboys receivers are dropped a little bit in the rankings because of Andy Dalton and
Yeah.
not Dak Scott.
Let's see. So that's it for the top 20 there. We'll get into the bottom 20 here. This is definitely the lowest Cooper Kupp has been ranked. And, if you watched our Week 7 preview show, he was a player that he had on our trading block as a sell. And, again, it just doesn't look too good for those receivers there. It looks like they're very touchdown dependent. They'll still have a couple big games here and there, but I think based on where you drafted them, they're definitely, I think you're definitely disappointed with Cooper Kupp, and I'm worried about him going forward.
Yeah, we haven't really seen double-digit targets from either Woods or Cup yet. It just haven't been getting the volume that you want to see out of a top 12 receiver,
Mm-hmm.
and touchdown dependent.
Yeah, so we got him definitely ranked lower there. DJ Chark at 22 could definitely have a huge game. He just had some nagging injuries, so keep an eye on that. And the big players, Chase Claypool and Travis Fulgham at 25 and 26 respectively. Again, they've been hugely involved in the offense, and I think we've got to have them ranked inside the top 30 because of it.
Yeah, Chase Claypool, the past 2 weeks, it looks like they're trying to get him the ball. He's good when he gets it. And, yeah, Travis Fulgham has yet to disappoint. We'll see if his volume decreases with maybe some receivers coming back for Philadelphia, Deshaun Jackson, maybe Alshon Jeffrey later on in the season. We'll have to see how that works out. But this week, I like him on the Thursday night game.
Yeah, absolutely. CeeDee Lamb, 27, again, a tough matchup. He did still see a nice target share, and I think you're still happy with what he got last week. But again, temper expectations, very tough matchup against Washington for him. And I think for Andy Dalton, we can see some struggles. Let's see, DJ Moore at 28, a little bit lower, and Deebo Samuel at 29. Now, this is the lowest we've have ranked Odell Beckham.
Yeah, well, we told you to sell him a couple weeks ago. I just his fantasy floor is not the best for me, and his upside is really good.
Yeah, and Baker Mayfield just played very poor. He had a shoulder injury going into last game, and again, there's a lot of good receivers, and I like all the receivers ranked above him. We're not high on Odell Beckham here this season. Again, based on where he was drafted, he's underperformed, and I think that was something you could have seen going into the season.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. Now down into those lower ranks. These are kind of where you get into the high upside plays. This is definitely the lowest rank we've had. Juju Smith-Schuster. Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson have been more involved in the offense when they've been on the field. Juju Smith-Schuster was a sell target. I think at this point, if you can kind of get anything for him, you'd go out and do it. If there's a team, I don't know, go out and see if you can get someone for Juju Smith-Schuster.
It's a big name, but now that they added Claypool and Deontay Johnson's been getting a lot of targets, it's more ball to go around, and Juju's more of the possession guy. He's not the big.
And let me say this though: all these guys that we have in here, bottom, like 30 to 39, 30 to 40, have huge upside. I mean, Christian Kirk, you've seen, has now had two really nice games. He had the 2 catches for the 2 touchdowns against Dallas. It's another very favorable matchup against Seattle. He could definitely score a lot. John Brown is a player. He's a deep off that. Don't be surprised if he goes off for 100 yards and a touchdown. Josh Allen likes throwing his way, and that's a very favorable matchup against the Jets. Same with Mike Williams. Mike Williams is a player that we told you guys to pick up off waivers, and he could definitely be a sneaky start this week and going forward.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see, who else do we have in there? T. Higgins, getting more and more work, had over 100 yards last week. Getting more and more work out of that, WR2 spot easily. Joey B's second favorite target, but yeah, out of those guys, I think Christian Kirk has huge matchup upside. John Brown has huge upside. Mike Williams also definitely has huge upside.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, is there anyone else you wanted to talk about out of the receivers?
No, I think that's big game from Christian Kirk last week. He's got the same upside against Seattle this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, wide receivers very deep. There's a couple of fringe players that, probably right outside the top 40. Maybe like a Jerry Jeudy falls right outside the top 40, and Emmanuel Sanders falls right outside of the top 40.
Yeah.
Let's get to the tight end ranks, though.
Tight ends.
All right, number 1 and number 2 every single week. Travis Kelce and George Kittle. There's zero questions about that. Zero doubts in my mind that those are 1 and 2 every single week. And, they've just been monsters this week. They've been performing based on where you drafted them.
Yeah, it is what it is. They are who we thought they were. Is that what he said? That's the quote, right?
Yep. Darren Waller at number 3. Again, he is what we thought he is. He's going to be a top 5 play every single week. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith at 4 and 5. I think we each have those guys flipped, I believe. I think I have Jonnu Smith at number 4, and you have Hunter Henry at number 4, and vice versa.
Yep, so they're pretty much tied at 4, but, we're counting by 1.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's, again, we're high on Justin Herbert. Hunter Henry had his first touchdown of the week last week. I think he continues to build on that, but again, both those guys are great plays. Um, I'm in a tough spot. I have both of them, but I think I'm personally rolling with John Smith. But Noah Fant at number 6 looks like he's going to play this week. KC's they're definitely a defense that you can score on, and he's definitely a target there, favorite target of Drew Lock.
Yeah, I agree, and he's really good. He's just another one of those Iowa tight ends like Kittle is, and just really productive. And Hawkinson,
Yeah,
another guy. We skipped Ingram, but it's another Iowa tight end.
those Iowa tight ends. Yeah, Evan Ingram, Daniel Jones again hasn't been playing good football. Played better last week, but you know, Evan Ingram again is a once you're getting into these, once you get outside of this top 5, I think it gets a little tough. But Evan Ingram's probably always going to find himself in a top 10 just based on talent alone.
I agree. Evan Ingram is just he's put up big games before, so we know he can, and that is why he's up there.
Yeah, and so again, this is kind of where it gets tough, and where if you're streaming tight ends, you probably have had to make a choice between a couple of these guys. Jimmy Graham, Nick Foles likes throwing his way. He's a red zone target for him, but again, how much can you trust him? So I still think he puts up a decent week. We've got him ranked at number 9. Austin Hooper has started to perform finally. Baker Mayfield's finally kind of started to throw his way, and that's going to kind of reflect why we had Odell ranked lower. But I think it's since he's a nice matchup, and I think Austin Hooper might get a touchdown this week.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He's getting used more. Stefanski likes the tight ends. Austin Hooper can only move up our list from here, I think.
Yeah.
He's either going to be stick around 10 or he's going to start moving up.
Yeah, definitely. He's just such he's a very talented player. This is the highest that we'll have ranked Robert Gronkowski.
Yeah, so far. He was productive last week, and
it's 2 weeks in a row now. He's seen a decent amount of targets. I mean, again, he's at 12 there, so I think he can have a decent week, but I think temper expectations. Again, there's a lot of weapons out there. There's so many weapons out there, but Gronk has had a higher target share. Let's see, he had 6 targets week 5 and 8 targets week 6. So target share has been increasing. Definitely, Tom Brady's been looking his way a little bit more. He's playing a high snap percentage, so top 12. I think that's fair for him. Robert Tonyan, he had obviously the big 3 touchdown game. Just once you're getting to this point, it's kind of whoever's getting the touchdowns at this point.
Yeah, I agree. At this point, it's just that everyone's pretty much tied. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a toss-up, and again, if you're in a deeper league, you just kind of have to make a choice. Again, I do think Gronk probably has the highest touchdown upside. I think we might see Gronk get a touchdown this week.
Yeah, I like it.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about here at the tight end rankings?
Not really. No. If you know who these guys are, you know who they are.
Yep. Well, there it is. There's the rankings.
Maybe Jared Cook could maybe outperform his ranking.
Yeah, I think Jared Cook could, and same with Tyler Higbee. He has touchdown upside. But again, all these guys have touchdown upside. It's just kind of you're just kind of hoping at that point whoever gets the touchdowns. Well, there's the tight end ranks. Last but not least, we got to get into the kicker and defense ranks. Top 16 for both of those guys. Number 1 defense, or top 3 defense every single week is whoever's going to be playing the Jets. We got Bills at number 1 there.
I agree.
Let's see what else we got. Eagles, I think Eagles and Giants, I think that could potentially be, we see some turnovers on both sides. Giants were on our streaming list of defenses to stream, actually. So I think they could be a sneaky play. Carson Wentz, we could see some turnovers. And Giants have actually been a sneaky good defense this year.
Yeah, and I think the game could have under 40 points total. So if you get points for, or at least retain points for not giving up a lot of points, I think both teams will be around 20.
Yeah, absolutely.
And turnovers from both teams. Carson Wentz has averaged around 2 turnovers a game so far. So I can almost guarantee one.
Yeah.
I don't want, but like.
Yeah, I definitely think you can see some turnovers there. Again, there's some good defenses on bye. Miami's on a bye. They've been performing well. And then obviously the Colts and Baltimore, their defenses are fantastic. They're on bye. So a little bit tougher week for defenses here, but there's the top 16 for defenses and kickers.
Yeah, those bye week defenses, Miami, Baltimore, and Indy are all in top 12 defense so far. So gotta maybe stream somebody you weren't thinking about playing this week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there are the full rankings. Again, folks, if you want to check out these were the consensus rankings, so each of our rankings are a little bit different. You can check out the full rankings below. That's going to be in the link in the description, as well as the link to our full-length Spotify playlist. If you guys enjoyed these rankings, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, or follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and that's all the same. That's at Across the Plane. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, we are on there at Across the Plane. If you have any questions, make sure you drop a comment. We'll get back to you as fast as we can. And then Sunday morning, I think Sunday morning, potentially have a live stream going on to answer your last-minute fantasy football questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Check that out. We're Across the Plane on YouTube, Across the Plane on everything else. Plug in everything he said. Plug it in. I'm Jake the Rookie. That's THA, like the main page. And yeah, subscribe and you'll be notified with the next show.
Yeah, absolutely. And hit the bell too, so when we go live, you can come hang out with us. As always, we say have a backup plan for anything. Keep notice on the practice reports. Friday is the most important day of practices. Players like Joe Mixon, that's going to be a big one. If he does sit, that'll definitely shake up these current rankings as they stand. So keep an eye on all of that. Stay alert. If you're playing any players tonight, we hope you have a good game tonight. Hope you have a good game this upcoming week. And again, I think Sunday morning you can expect a live stream. Thank you to all of those who have checked in on the stream, and we will see you next week.